Hey everyone, welcome back again for another exciting podcast episode of the Iconis podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Barry 3D for Deep Dark Delicious. You know how it's going to go. I'm going to say it. Hey. And on my side, as always, the one and only, the one of the turntables, the master of the mix, the man, the myth, the legend, the one himself known as
DJ Rod C. Hey, that's me over there. How you doing? How you doing, people? Welcome to Bionics.
Doing good.
Good.
Right.
Excellent.
We've got past our milestone 50th episode. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting. All the links down below. Let's get that straight to the point. If you want to buy any of our merch with the logos on it, please click on the link below, hit our Redbubble store. You can find the Barry 3D merch, the Iconis merch, sweaters, hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, whatever. All there.
All over here and there and everywhere.
Right. Working on some other stuff too. And I keep saying that. So I'm thinking, I know Rod's on Twitch.
I am on Twitch. You can find me definitely on Twitch at DJ Rod C. Listen, I'm there. Just as the time we're doing this recording, I just did something literally about an hour ago. Just came off the set. Great fun playing 80s and 90s jam with some friends. So listen, get a chance, find me on Instagram. You'll find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C. And then from there, you can parlay into DJ Rod C on Twitch. So it's twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. Listen, that's where you'll find me. Here's a good question. Barry, where can they find you?
Oh, geez.
Where can they find you?
Man, I'm all over. Easiest way to find everything that I'm doing, we're doing, and other stuff I'm doing is on barry3d.com. That is my main website. You can find all the links there for this show, any other show I'm a part of, my tour dates, what I'm going about, anything I'm doing. I've got a blog, I've got tour dates. barry3d.com. That's the easiest way to find all my socials. If you go on to that page, you'll see there's like Rod has a flow code that you can scan to find all his links. I got one up also. So easy to find. End of the show, we have our flow code that you can find all our stuff. Very, 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 very simple. So, and then before we kick it off, we're going to go and just do a quick round table. So remember, you got to support your books, support your comic book stores, right? And you got to reach out to friends of the show, which is Check Swings, which is located in Montreal, Wild Comics, which is out in Kitchener. If you want some music, once again, we keep talking about Wayne Tennant. He's one of my friends, and he's got his album out right now called Curfew Flowers. Funky, something in there for everybody. And then we got to do some quick shout outs to Back to the Balcony with Jimmy English. Hilarious, insightful, great podcast. And I keep saying he was season 2. My apologies. He's up on like season 6 right now of his podcast. A lot of stuff there, a lot of guests. I'm on there. You'll hear my episode coming up soon enough again. Another one I'm on. We got to shout out, the comedy troupe I'm a part of, which is our YouTube channel, which is A Touch of Gray Matter with Thomas Patrice, Zolf Ali, myself, Barry 3D Carter, and Dave Sokolowski. We have a show coming up in Burlington, at the end of May. Yeah. So, straight out of Burlington. Look for it. You'll see the link below. If you can show up, you're going to laugh. We go bust your gut. That's for sure. Though these are friends of the show. Of course, Paul Ash from BattleCom. So BattleCom, they talk funny. Look for his live stand-up. See him on the screen. He's everywhere. Paul Ash, another friend of the show. Not sure who he was. Go back to our episode with Grimjack. You'll see Paul Ash. And last but not least, we cannot forget the one who makes us look so pretty. Rod, who am I talking about?
J Bird Digital.
J Bird Digital Arts. You need anything done from posters to digital templates, all that, all your graphic artist needs, J Bird Digital Arts. Look him up. Tell him we sent you. Say hi. Don't be rude. Your mama raised you right. Come on now. It's all about manners. Manners maketh the man.
That was nice. That was nice.
Right?
You could.
Support the shows, man. Support. And I said, you can support this show. You can support other shows. Spread the love. There's enough love for everyone to go around. So, as you know, the show's called Iconis. For Icon is the further adventures or the adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. Right?
Wait a minute.
No guts, no glory. That theme song. Wow. Okay. If you thought that I was a fan of the G.I. Joe, the movie theme song, woo! 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 There's some theme songs that when you hear it, come on, you know you got to tune in. Right? We're not gonna get back into G.I. Joe, movie. Because we know that's gonna be 10 minutes just gone right there for this show. So I'm trying to fight it. But Galaxy Rangers, the Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. Right. This is we're ending off our month with the Mighty Four. As I said, we did the UFOs. We covered Power Pack. Now it's Galaxy Rangers. We gave you some Pulp Fiction. Now we're giving you some animated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Rod, when I mentioned this to you, you're like, yeah, man, let's do it. And then it hit you that you never really watched an episode. And then you started watching some of them.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think before we kind of get into it?
Listen, it's a very what's the best way of saying the characters on these guys on the characters on this show is very nice and unique. There's something like you can see, because again, back in the days, you can tell who was the leader.
Yeah.
Everybody had their particular niche, and you can clearly see and understand, like, oh, you're going into his lane. You gonna get hurt. I feel sorry for you. You going in her lane. You gonna get it. Oh, you gonna get it. You gonna get it good. You gonna get it good. You gonna get it good. Yeah. So basically, back in the days, you had particular the diversity of the characters. It was well laid out, and I watched the show and I was properly entertained.
I hear you, Robert. You got to speak up, man. Speak up.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
You got for half a second.
I went so low. Sorry, I apologize. I was trying to go into. I was going into like nice, proper kind of dialect and pronunciation of my vocabulary, enunciation. But I will basically say that. Listen, I like the show. You can tell the characters, you know who's doing what, and you realize, like, you know what, I can definitely, growing up as a child, you can watch this and say, like, oh, I'm more like that particular person. Ooh, I like how they do that. And you can clearly know who to navigate yourself through and what you like. So I basically love the show in the sense that you can see every episode. It's a good storyline. And basically, it's like, oh, okay, cool. We're going to talk about this particular person and their characteristics and come forth in the show. So no, definitely, it was a great show.
Right, and it's a unique perspective, right? Because I mean, for myself, I've watched it many times, and for you, this is the first time you've come across and actually sat there and watched the Galaxy Rangers. Right. And to your point, yes, there was someone there for everybody, and that's what I like. It was diverse before its time, and so let's just get back to it, right? So this thing, of course, once it's a syndicated show, it had to have 65 episodes. The first show kicked off in 1986. So so release date was September 14th, 1986. And that was its first run, syndication kind of thing. Episodes were, they say 30 minutes, but let's be real. It's like 22 minutes because 8 minutes is all commercials. Right? The producers were, Robert Mandrell and Bob Trasanti. The executive producer was Abe Mandel. And the show was created by, and I'm not saying by like so long by, we're not done yet. It was created by Robert Mandel. And it had a lot of great voice actors on it. And one of the surprising voice actors, so you had the leader of the team, which was Zach, right? His voice actor, which got me, and I didn't know at the time, was Jerry Orbach. So Jerry Orbach was the father of, Baby from Dirty Dancing.
Oh, really?
Yes. Who was also on Law and Order. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, Jerry Orbach was the voice for 65 episodes of Zachary Fox.
Nice.
The leader of the team.
Nice.
Wow. Wow.
Comes back full circle.
This man was Law and Order before Law and Order, so to speak. He was Law and Order on TV, and he was a Galaxy Ranger. Pretty much a Ranger was like a sheriff, a Ranger, as we know right now. You've seen Texas Walker, Ranger, whatever. Rangers are Rangers. So he was a Ranger. They had their white suits in blue. I'll put up a picture here, but for the fans watching or listening on the podcast, you can look it up. So for everyone that's watching it, remember, like, subscribe, and share.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the notifications, hit those likes, send us some comments. We'll reply to all. So that was interesting that Jerry had this, and that was the role he had of Zach. So let's break down the four main people of this team.
Got it.
Right? And I'm going. So Zachary Fox, was a captain.
Mm-hmm.
He has his wife. He had 2 kids. And the story really revolves around him. The main, or let's say the subplot story, the ongoing story revolves around Zachary. So 2 aliens end up coming to Earth. They come and give Earth some technology, like this new trans warp drive. And that's how mankind got into the stars. So we joined with alliance with these 2 other alien races. They helped us. We helped them. Mm-hmm. And everyone growed and prospered. But you had the Shadow Queen, and trying to bring everybody down. So it's got its tropes from everywhere.
Right.
And the reason why Zachary was in that, he was the captain of a convoy, going to do a peace mission. So he said it was very peaceful. Nothing was supposed to happen. So he had his wife with him. He had his kids with him. He had the aliens with him, one representative from each one, ambassadors. While they're going, they got attacked. When they got attacked, he had to fight back. He got injured. So half his body gets damaged. His wife gets kidnapped. She gets kidnapped by the queen. And she has these things called soul gems that she uses to power herself. So, they're able to get back his wife's body, but her essence is trapped inside this gem that she has and takes off with. And there's no other way to revive her out of this so-called kind of coma by getting the other half of this gem. So they put his wife in suspended animation. They fix him up. They say, okay, man, we're going to fix you. We're going to make you better. We can rebuild him. Right. So he becomes a cyborg. The whole, I believe it's the right hand side of his body. Is it his right side or left hand side?
Left side.
My bad. So his left side of his body, all bionic. From leg, arm, chest, all down there. They give him biotics and everything, and then they put it over like fake skin, so it looks normal, right? He's not just
right.
This is because we're in the future. And they give him a Series 5 implant, which is hidden behind his Ranger badge. So when he taps on it, he doesn't have to actively think of it like an X-Men where power on or, Human Torch, flame on. He just taps it, and that power comes on for a couple of seconds, a minute, and, it increases his strength, his speed. He can actually shoot a blast from his hand. And when he does it, you see the bionics all come through his suit, so to speak. It glows like black and yellow, and boom.
It's funny. I saw that and it made me think of Reboot, which we're gonna have to touch at one time.
Thank you.
Reboot.
Exactly.
So that was the look at that deep.
Yeah. The double tap.
Double tap.
Before Reboot. Galaxy Rangers. So that's Zach's backstory. Zach, and he was voiced by Jerry from, as I said, Dirty Dancing, Law and Order. For years, he was a staple in Law and Order. So that was amazing that he was a part of that. Then we have Niko. And Niko was, she's an archaeologist specializing in ancient cultures and civilizations. And that's really what her wealth of knowledge was. But she also had these kind of psionic powers, very low level, but they were there. But with the Series 5 implant, it would boost her powers. She was she was a mix to me, like Invisible Woman Jean Grey.
Okay. Yeah. Good call.
Not a damsel in distress. Oh, no. She was no damsel in distress. Where Zachary, as the leader, would have a gun, she would walk around with a shotgun. That was her weapon of choice. Yeah. No one puts baby in the corner.
What? Say what? Oh, Lord, help me all.
Right?
Shellings.
So she and what I liked, as I said, she wasn't the damsel in distress. She wasn't a character. Sometimes, back in the day, if you look at old cartoons, and I'm not going to talk anime because I find old school anime treated women differently than North American cartoons treated female characters, right? Any anime I found, they always gave a strong character. Some of them, of course, were the cutesy characters and they had the high pitched voices, but a lot of them were strong. A lot of them were stronger than the male characters,
right?
But because at the time it was more males watching the cartoons, that's who the audience, that was their demographic. Right. But the females were no slouch. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to watch this and see from the get-go, she's got psionics and telekinesis. She's walking around with a shotgun. She might be soft-spoken, but she ain't soft.
Complete facts. Real facts.
Right. And she wasn't there as a love interest for any character. Mm-hmm. Not a love interest for any character. She was there as her own. They never said, oh, well, who are you going to date? They never got into who she'd date, who she'd like, whatever case would be. She was there to do a job, mm-hmm. and she didn't have to come off like overly aggressive. She was just very normal. She would walk into rooms like, oh, what's happening? Oh, this is what's happening? You want to do this? I don't think so. Like, she was so nice. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't expect it. And then she pulls out a shotgun. Yeah, deputized ranger.
Yep.
Then the other character was Walter Hartford.
Hartford, yep.
Right? Also known as Doc. Mm-hmm. Now, this is where it sunk in with me. We had a character, a man of color. Not there. He was lighthearted. He was the Joker-ish. But he was a computer genius.
Right.
He could throw down with all of them because he had to go through his ranger school. So he had himself his gun. And then he had this thing. I don't know how to describe. It looked like a iPad, whatever. He used to have this, and he would tap on it, and little programs would come out. So he would hit his implant, and he would plug in like mentally with his technology. He didn't have to use a keyboard or nothing. He had all these algorithms written and they would operate. So if you watched the original Tron, there was a little bit in there called Cursor. He had multiple of them and each one had their own personalities. Each one had their own function. They can do what they had to do. Anything it came. So he was a doctor, but not a doctor per se as bandage him up. He was, he was like well off. He came from a well-established family. Mm-hmm. Which I touched on a couple of times in the episode, even though you never saw his family, you could tell he was upper class. Mm-hmm. So first of all, growing up, we see a black man, he's educated. He's a main player. He comes from a wealthy, a well-off family, maybe borderline wealthy family.
Right.
And he really was kind of a swashbuckler attitude towards danger. He would run in there. He wasn't the coward. But he was a pretty boy.
Right. Pretty boy. We'll leave there.
Well, that's the best way to describe him, man. He was a pretty boy. His hair was always, he made sure. And then, of course, there's every team needs that character. The X-Men got Wolverine. Like him or not, he's the character. He's the one that represents the team. He's the one that's on all the merchandise. He's on the posters. He's everywhere. Wolverine is so popular that Wolverine is on the X-Men, X-Force, Avengers, Dark Avengers, Solo Run. He's Patch. Teams up with every character in the Marvel Universe, fights every character in the Marvel Universe. I don't know when Wolverine sleeps.
Right.
But he was the essential cool character, the character that gets drawn to. And in this 4, it is Shane Gooseman. Right? First of all, you think, they call him Goose for short, but his name's Shane Gooseman. Right? Blonde hair. They drew him as the good-looking guy. Right away, you knew he had to be the cool character because he had 2 guns. Every time he got into a fight, he pulled out both and started shooting. He was a 2-gun slinger.
Shoot first. We'll talk about it later.
Oh, yeah. He had the hushed voice. It's like, yeah, this is Shane Gooseman. what do you think you're gonna do? So he had that Dirty Harry mystique about him.
There you go.
He was, best way I can describe him, and let me know if I'm right or wrong, super soldier.
No, that's a good narrative. He was a type that basically enhanced in every way, and just being at the top of his, his ability was like, like Dungeon and Dragon type of scenario, that he was a 10 out of 10. His character charts, his ability and all that kind of strength, movement, agility. He was like, I am the best. I'm the best at what I do, aka Wolverine. In that sense, I'm the best at what I do.
He's on every box cover. He's the one they put. If you look at the box covers, they don't put Zachary in the forefront. They put Shane Gooseman in the forefront, and he was the loner, dangerous character, but he has a mysterious past, and they explored it. And what I mean by he was a, oh my God, I just said super soldier.
Right.
There's an episode called Super Troopers. So Super Troopers, and that was his whole backstory. And you realize, so Shane Gooseman with his implant, he would hit it and he would adapt to any situation. That was his power. So if he was in a room filling with dangerous gas, he would hit it and his lungs would change, that it would filter out that gas. Right. If he was in a dangerous situation, like he got blown out of an airlock in outer space and he hit his implant, his whole body would be encased in steel, like Colossus. So he's able to move still. It would protect him from the rigors of whatever. If he went underwater and he hit his implant, he would grow gills. His skin might change. So you don't know what he would look like, or how he would be, but his body would adapt to any situation he would get into. Even if he got shot with a laser and he hit it, he would heal.
Get back there. There you go.
Yeah.
Super soldier.
Yeah.
No, you are absolutely correct. It was their version of the super soldier formula.
That's right. That's right. And the whole thing was and they really got detailed in his background because they knew the character was going to like him. Mm-hmm. So you see, he does a lot of solo missions. And even how they set him up was very smart. They had their one main ship, and I like the way their ship looked. And that one main ship would have Zach, Doc, and Niko on it, right? And even though there was room for Shane to be on their spaceship, Shane would always fly his own spaceship, which was a fighter. The way they drew it was really cool. It reminded me a little bit of the X-Wing fighters, like how it had the long nose,
right?
The wing, But he always, every time they launch, it's like, okay, launching. I'm like, all right, there goes everybody. And then you see Shane, I'm in my fighter, let's go. I'm like, wait a minute, you never fly with the team? Every mission, every place they go, Shane flies his own fighter.
You know what? My mind was thinking too in regards to Silverhawks.
Yes.
How just Doc, the guitar, basically the pilot, the main pilot.
Bluegrass.
Bluegrass. That's it. Bluegrass. Again, he's always, but he flew with everybody, but at least having that lone type of cowboy type of imagery.
Right.
I was seeing some similarities there. So, and again, bringing with the ship and everything like that, I was like, ooh, we see some parallel or some close proximity.
Of course. There was a lot of tropes that were taken from different things and they put it together, and it was a good formula. But I mean, right away, you knew, okay, he's the leader. This is her powers. You can't touch her because she's pretty much untouchable. Doc, we know his role. He's going to have a little bit of humor, but they made him the pretty boy, not gangster, so to speak. And he had computers and everything. And then, Shane was a character to watch. He had his own spaceship. He had 2 guns. He had that hushed tone voice like Clint Eastwood. Yep. And he was a super trooper. And they did an episode called Super Trooper where he had to go back to his old base where he trained with the other guys, and very reminiscent to X-Men,
right?
How Sabretooth refers to Wolverine as the runt. The rest of the super troopers that were there would turn around and bully Shane all the time because their powers came in earlier. His powers never developed. They did call him the runt. So a lot of them were physically bigger, but they called him the runt. He was a better shot and marksman than them. He was up there in hand-to-hand combat and had to fight them and had to use his head a little bit more. So when the super troopers at one point realized that the military was kind of turning against them because they didn't like how their minds were kind of going, and they said, well, we have to take them down and put them on suspended animation and see what we can do. They're too dangerous to be out there. Pretty much you got to arrest them. They looked at Shane and go, Shane, you never took the super trooper formula. the genetics are in your system, but every day they had to take this pill to kind of activate their powers and see how it mutated, and it kind of messed with their minds a little bit. Shane did have a love interest in the Super Troopers, and every time he liked her, but she was always going out with the other leader of the Super Troopers. So it was always that kind of love triangle, and she decided to stay with the leader instead of going with Shane. They always refer to him as a runt.
Right.
So there's a couple episodes there's one I remember really well where Shane shows up on this planet. So this whole thing is like a space western. They dress like cowboys. Right. They have the hats, white hats, the whole 9 yards. They have horses, but they're all robotic horses.
Robotic horses, yep.
And as I said, their costumes are red and blue. That's their outfits with gold badges. When Shane goes on a bounty hunting thing to bring back in the Super Troopers, he goes solo without the rest of the team. Gets to the planet, and he's dressed all in black. And he just goes by the Stranger. And it's a classic, shootout at the OK Corral when he's tracking them down one by one. And they still refer to him as a runt, but that runt started turning around and whooping him. So just like Wolverine as the runt, but Wolverine's the most dangerous character or most loved character in X-Men. I can't say he's the most dangerous. He portrays himself as the most dangerous, but he's not, right, in my opinion. There's other characters that are physically or have more power than Wolverine. It's just everyone. Anyways, that's a discussion for a different day. This one, Shane was that man. They refer to him as a runt. He was the outcast, even from them. He knows the military didn't trust him because he didn't take that enhancer, so to speak. If he did, his powers would have been even that much, but then his mind would have kind of got warped with it, right? So, did I mention the theme song?
You might have mentioned the theme song.
No guts, no glory. Right. So this is what we're talking about for the Galaxy Rangers. Rod, what are your thoughts or points on some of these?
Listen, my thoughts are this: the characters. You know what? Listen, I like them. Like you said, I like Shane. Right. I like Doc. Doc was he's just too humorous for me. That you're supposed to take him serious, but then he just does or says something like. Again, because I was like catching into the show, and early on, and there's a scene where, when they are now introduced to their horses. So all the horses, and let's be precise, let everybody know the horses are not only robotic, but they have their own AI, their own individual personalities and everything like that. So everybody picks their horse to pick their horse, and then the horse that Doc picked always referred him at a different name.
Wilbur.
And it's Wilbur. And I'm like, how do you, you're supposed to be super intelligent machinery and you can't get my name right? Walter. All right, Wilbur. No, Walter. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like they actually wrote this in, and I'm just dying with laughter that you actually made it that, again, he is the comical relief, funny guy. But the thing is that you don't take him, you realize that he's maybe funny per se as he's nice and giggly, but he has a mind. He's a super genius. He's a smart and dangerous character. Don't mess with him. He knows what he's doing. I love that parlay of that revolving door type of emotional connection that you make with these guys. That's why Doc to me was the person that was like, you're funny. You're funny. I like it.
But dangerous.
Dangerous.
Dangerous. I mean, a lot of times you might focus on Shane, but you got to remember how dangerous the four of them would go to different planets, just the four of them, and they've taken on smugglers, human traffickers, pirates. There is one pirate called Captain Kidd, and looks like a giant bird. And things just go wrong for him every time the Rangers show up. I didn't even call them humans. They call them hummings. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I think so.
Hummings.
Yes, hummings. Yes. And I'm like, who wrote? I'm like, you know what? We're gonna let that go. That was cute. Humans. Now you started sounding like Ferengis. That's humans.
Right. As I said, this show, I got introduced to this show by one of my friends, Dave. Now, so not Dave Sokolowski or whatever, Dave Roden. So Dave Roden introduced me to this show. He's like, oh, you got to watch this show. And I remember I was like, oh man, what's Galaxy Ranger like? Sort of thing. He goes, Barry, you got to watch it. He goes, I watched it before because I caught onto it late. And I sat there and I watched an episode. I'm like, no guts, no glory. All right. The theme song sets the tone for the show. The music was nice. It was a nice musical score to it. So I'm going to say there's like a lot with this show. If you want to see a future Western, if you're a fan of Firefly, there we go.
Good answer.
If you're a fan of Firefly, right? Serenity, the movie, that whole run, then you would be a fan of this show.
You know what? I'll even go on to this. I don't know if there was a documentary in regards to Star Trek.
Yes.
Originally, when it was started, it was supposed to be started as a Western, as a space type of Western, type of spaghetti Western. And you clearly see that, Kirk's duking it out, whatever the case would be, going out into different cities and different planets and everything like that. So again, it has the same type of similarity. You have the galaxy Rangers going to different planets, taking care of whatever issues and stuff along that line. So yeah, you could definitely, if you like Western, you like sci-fi, and you looking for that type of combination, Galaxy Ranger will definitely, they won't fail you. It won't fail you.
No, not at all. And so when these aliens come to Earth, they turn around and they started off this organization called Beta, which is Bureau for Extraterrestrial Affairs. And that's where they work. And then for some reason, their base is in the side of the mountains. That's where they always launch from. Here's the things that make it cool for me as a fan. I always want to have good characters. Right. If you're going to put anything with dealing with outer space, it has to have a cool looking spaceship. It's got to be pleasing to the eye. That's true. Let's be honest, right?
No, that's true.
Any show you watch, if you remember any kind of sci-fi show, it's because, oh man, that spaceship was cool. And the first thing you want to do is, as a fan, is either you want to find a toy of it, you want to find the model kit of it, you want to find some kind of thing to have in your collection.
Right.
Grandizer, the robot, Grandizer, cool, right? If you look at Space 1999, the Eagle spaceships, cool looking. The Falcon from Star Wars, that's a cool ship. It's got that cool factor to it. It was a little bit different, but it's got that cool factor to it. There's another anime called Lensman. If you look at the ship they have in Lensman, I liked how it looked. Okay, right? It had to have, because the ships are also characters, in my opinion. So you have your main characters, you have the backdrop with the ship inside, outside. It's got to have that appeal to it. So you got the characters that also have that appeal to it. And then you have to have the villains. You have a backstory of the villains on different levels. You have some that are entry-level villains. And like when you play a game, they think they're the boss. No, then you get past chapter 1, but you got to get to chapter 10 with the big boss you got to deal with. But along the way, as you work your way up, there's got to be cool villains that add a little bit, that advance the story, add a little humor, add a little bit of negativity for our characters, set them back a little bit, make things tough for them. And everything's not a cakewalk. So when they actually get to the last boss and defeat the last boss, you've gone on a nice journey with them. That being said, the only thing is, at the end, they've never finished off the story. In 65 episodes, Galaxy Rangers never got a season 2. So my apologies. The first run, season 1, I got this and I apologize. I'm going to correct myself. They were chasing down to get back Zachary's wife because they didn't have his wife. Yes. During season 1, they get his wife's body back, but they miss out on getting the gem that has her soul. So the queen has it and she takes off. We know season 2 had to deal with tracking that down. They did other missions in between to keep the peace, bounty hunting, negotiations, escorting people to certain locations. But the subplot is getting Zachary's family reunited. That's his main goal. And even though he's on these missions, he's still got his kids. So I think that season 2 could have opened up to a lot more. Like when he's in outer space, he's got a young teenage son and a preteen daughter who watches them. Is there extended family members? Is there with their aunts and uncles? Are they also with Beta? We don't know. I would love to see more. We know a lot about Shane's background, so we're good. But Niko and Doc's background a little bit more. We heard more about Doc's background in a couple of episodes. Niko's background, I'd like to see explored a little bit more, right? Okay. Find out why they joined the Rangers and go from there. So that was my excitement about a lot of it. So, and that's a shame. It never got a season 2. So now we're at this point. If I had to say anything, we need season 2. I don't know how you see it, Rod. For myself, I need a continuation of this cartoon.
Okay.
I don't want it live. For me, I'm good with it as a cartoon. Let's stick with a cartoon. Give it to me on a streaming service. I'd say Disney buying everything. Netflix, get on that. Netflix did the whole dream. So I would love to see, here's a go. Treatment by DreamWorks via Netflix to stream it like how they did Voltron.
Facts.
He handled an older property well, really well. I want to see this treated a certain way. Don't swap the characters. Let's leave them all there and let's expand the story.
No, that would definitely work with me. I'll definitely agree with you on that. Not a live action for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's so many. Clearly, we're seeing 60, 65, episodes. So there's a lot of story arc right there. And again, the story, that particular arc isn't finished. The main purpose is not finished. So that means we can do multiple and have a 2-hour movie, 2.5-hour movie. Nah, we need more because there's a lot of stuff to pick in and pull out. So might as well continue it. Or you know what? Again, do the DreamWorks / Netflix type of collaboration. Just like they did with Voltron. You started from the beginning, but you're not ending this in one season. Nope. You're going to have to end this in, especially if you do the Voltron way of it, which would be perfect because Voltron went in 7. Please excuse me.
Seasons were shorter though. Their seasons were shorter, but that's fine.
Right, yeah. but I like that. Yeah, they were short, but a lot of these are now doing like saying 8 to 12, and then that's it.
Yeah,
8 to 12, and that's it. So give me 8 to 12, but definitely give me at least 4 to 5 seasons so you can make up that 65. Because you'll have stories there that you'll have to combine completely. So let's go from there, and then by the end of your 4th to 5th, or even if you're able to make a 6th, then by then we will now get into the story of what happened to Zach's wife, where she did. Were you able to So you have her, you don't have her soul, you don't have the soul gem.
Right.
How do we put it back together? What's the procedure? What do we got to do? Do we have to now, let's go into that storyline. Reverse engineer it so she can get that fuse back as one. There we go. And that's basically it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with that. So I'm in the same frame of mind. Season wise, I would say at least, I would go 3 to 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And let's just get in there. I don't want too much filler episodes. I want really, give me the action, give me everything, wrap it up. So if we have to break it down, let's go right now. Mm-hmm. I would say Zachary Fox for myself.
Yeah.
I know as much as I like to keep a lot of the original cast there, we know that Jerry Aldridge has passed away. Rest in peace. We get that. Thank you for the work you've left behind as a fan. I know as a voice actor to cover Zachary, keep it somewhat same kind of tone to the voice. Let's give this man something else. Kevin Conroy.
Oh,
I would go with him. Who does Batman the Animated Series? I would go for him as Zachary Fox.
Okay. Okay. So you're basically trying to create. Well, he already is Kevin Conroy, but make him now into the next version of Peter Collins. We need his voice every place else. That's what you're trying to do. And
I guess so. It's just that, but he's got that voice that
he has that voice.
If you hear when Zachary talks and you think how Jerry, when Jerry talks, his voice, his tone of voice, Kevin, his voice has that essence to it.
In fluctuation, yeah, definitely.
Right. It's not that I'm trying to cast them everywhere, but I really think that
but
it respects it.
But exactly, no, but I mean, because we've loved Kevin Conroy, but the thing is, we only know him as Optimus.
No,
as Batman.
Right,
but we have Peter Cullen, who we know as Optimus, but we know Peter Cullen also does other voiceovers, other things, narrating and stuff like that. That's the similarity that I'm looking at in the sense. Let's get Kevin to not only be solely known as Batman. Let's get him for he is for other stuff, but this would be a perfect way to just say, add an extra notch onto his belt and get him, another well-known character, that everybody can, gravitate to. This would be something good right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to go with him, we'll do 1 for 1. So if you have him as Kevin as your voice, I was now going to, I wanted to go with someone familiar in the law enforcement aspect of it. He's He played a sheriff, and also played a superhero from his country. So I'm talking about David Harbour. So from Stranger Things, so the sheriff right there, and then we're going to the Red Guardian. Is it Red Guardian?
Yeah. You're right.
Right, Red Guardian from things. So the superhero, from his own native country. So yes, but he has the ability. He's already portrayed himself as a officer.
Wow.
And he was very not a lighthearted per se, but he can definitely get his voice to give you that kind of authoritative type of, vocal voice to you. Same way he was when he was in Red Guardian. So, we'll have to, replace the Russian accent, from that point, but put him as American. But he has that it's coming from his chest. It's going to tell you something, and then he always goes double tap, and we're good.
Right. I'm with you. I'm with you. Now that I like that. Now see, here's where it's gonna get easy for me for the rest of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I say bring back the rest of the original cast. That's me. Because the only person missing was Jerry, obviously. Right?
Right.
But Archie, Serena, and Reggie
are still
active.
Okay.
From what I'm looking at here, they're all active. So Archie did Shane Gooseman's. I think it was Archie did Shane Gooseman's voice, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. I'm trying to find it here. And Serena obviously did Niko, and then Reggie, did Doc.
Okay.
So I would simply say keep those, keep the original cast on there. And if I'm off by who played who, then I apologize, but I know the original ones are still there. And I would say bring it back. This way, it's really good fanfare. The only person missing was Jerry, but I would substitute that in for, and I'm not trying to cut corners, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Okay. I like what you're doing. I like what you're saying. Okay, cool. Well, since in that end, then I'm going to, at least who I was picking, that if we were going to do this, I wanted someone with at least an aspect that I wanted to give that type of. Okay, so let's go with Niko. So with Niko, I chose Keira Knightley.
Oh.
Because I was going in the aspect of, like you said, she is fearless. She will let's replace the sword with a shotgun. You still fear for your life.
Yes.
Let's go for that. But then have the ability that, she can just, just walk into a room and be very have that conversation kind of scenario. Like, yeah, I was thinking like that because she played that when she was playing, Elizabeth on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
She knew when to be proper and be very relaxed and whatever the case be. And on the dime, she'll switch on you.
Wow, that's true.
So
even in the other movie, Pride and Prejudice, she did a phenomenal role in that. For those who've seen that period piece, and she plays a strong-willed character woman, and she doesn't have to yell, she doesn't have to scream. She just portrays it, and her voice conveys it. So good call, man. Good call. Okay, all right.
So I wanted to go then for Shane. I want to go with Alexander Skarja, Sarsgaard.
Yeah, Sarsgaard. Yeah,
Sarsgaard. Yes. So, I mean, let's go with where was I was thinking. Okay, for one, definitely with that being strong and being saying no hard bar kind of scenario.
Right.
When he did the live action for Tarzan.
Yes.
So that was cool. Zoolander, Adam, he was, a little, cause Zoolander was still again another very comical kind of scenario, but also, Battleship, he was one of the main characters, right?
Yes.
So at least he has the discipline to be the soldier / naval officer. That was, yes. Right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay. I see where your team's going. Okay. I like this. Okay. All
And
right.
and now for Doc. Now
Right.
I will admit I came across this character, this particular actor. I have to say by a fluke, by watching a show, and I saw him there, and he was always so interesting. That he was a very serious person, but you could see he had the demeanor and the way of being quirky,
Mhm.
when and if needed kind of scenario. So if you've the individual's name is Tramel Tillman.
Okay.
If you ever watched on where did I just saw that? Sorry, I just ran through Severance. So if you watch the show Severance, Severance is on an Apple TV.
Right. Okay.
So it's an Apple TV
Original.
original.
Okay.
So Severance is there, and so basically his particular character, he's sort of like the the middleman type of like manager for a group of people who, as a side note, if you ever get a chance to watch this show, it's a great show. Side end of the show is basically you agree to split your mind in the sense like there's a work you and then there's an outside you, the inners and outies. So basically, when you go to work, once you pass a certain level, you switch, but each person doesn't know about the other. So when a person
Oh
from
yeah,
work,
yeah.
he walks into work, his day starts and ends as soon as he goes through that particular door, elevator, whatever the case may be. And then the next day, he starts back up at the door. He doesn't know about his Audi and whatever the case may be. And it could be completely two separate lives. This particular person, uh, Ma, Milcock, Milchek, sorry, Milchek
Right.
is basically like the guy who he's on the outside world, but he basically is the one who's managing and keeping everybody like, hey, don't worry about your outside world. Just do the job. You're here to work. Do your work, whatever the case may be. But he has the ability of being quirky. Sometimes when you see in the show how he's a little quirky and funny. He
Mhm,
can be
mhm.
funny, like, having some good times. There's an episode where as part of like a reward. You did the work, whatever the case to be. You're allowed. Just think of it like the reward was basically you had to like say a 10-minute music time. It was when you see the dynamic how the show is. It's one of those ones like you work, 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 work. Hey, you did your quota. Congratulations. What you're allowed to bring in some music into the office and you can play some music. And he's like dancing and just having some quirky, funny stuff. And I'm like, that's hilarious. But then on the flip side, you do something wrong, this guy will have no problem to just spare chuck you, which he did for someone who did wrong. He's like, what? Yeah. So he's a serious source. So he could be on the aspect of Doc. He's quirky, he's fun, being called Wilbur. I can see this guy having fun with that particular part of the show.
Okay.
But also in a sense, like you got to be serious and everything like that. Yeah, I can see that. So that's Tillman. Tillman.
Okay. I see. Okay. So I like your whole thing, and what I'll add on to it is for all the characters and actors. Sorry, the actors that you picked out to play those roles.
Mhm.
That would almost be a live action right there.
Yeah, and my mind was thinking that initially when I was going through it, but
Right.
because of like you were saying, and you really did pivot me to think, you know what, this actually would be better as a staring at a cartoon. But if
Right.
we were doing this as a live one, yeah, this is where I would have gone with.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. I think your actors, and this will give you. You've got that twofold appeal to it. So those actors doing the voice work would be amazing. And if they had to do a live action treatment of it, would be amazing. Those four, physically, how they look, how they fit the roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've swayed me actually more to saying, yeah, I could see that as a live action. If they would put a budget into it as a live action, I'd be all for that. I'll absolutely all for that. So you know what? Good. All right, good on you, man. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
It, it,
that's sweet.
listen, when you get a chance, everybody, when you get a chance, the characters, Barry's going to put it up and everything like that. And then you get the chance to see who I'm talking about. You see who Barry was talking about. Uh, I can clearly see these guys picture for picture for who it is, whatever the case to be. If they ever made the decision to do a live one, we got somebody there. If you want to do animated voiceovers, grab these people again. I'm just going to say,
Yeah.
you'll be good.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I agree. So let's leave it there. First of all, Galaxy Rangers. I know you can find some of the episodes here on YouTube. So if you do a search for the Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers, you can find them on YouTube. I know they have box sets of their DVDs. I don't even think they put the full run on there. Maybe they are on DVD. You can get it through Amazon, but look around, find it. The only sad thing about it is, toy wise, there wasn't many toys on these characters, right? I think there's some prototypes that were done overseas. There were some done here, but it wasn't as much big play sets as it could have. They missed the ball, in my opinion, on that with the popularity. So hopefully, if they were to do something going forward, they would give more marketing. Kenner, I'm looking at you. F done right, F done right. Give us something proper. So I will leave you guys on that. Final thought is simply thank you for supporting the show. Everyone tuning in. Remember, you can always hit the link, subscribe to the show. We would love it. Every Tuesday we drop the video. Every Wednesday we drop the audio. And as I like to say, this whole world was created by a piece of paper, a pencil, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming.
Galaxy Rangers, unite! Flame on.
No guts, no glory.
Double tap. No guts, no glory. Double tap. I'm a check. All right, we're going to get officer down.
Night, everyone.